plant some potatoes here, and I was going to go through the process and show you basically what you need to do from this to planting it in the ground. So when you plant potatoes, that's one thing you usually don't plant from seed. So you got to buy seed potatoes first, and oftentimes they'll come as, you know, like a whole potato like that, and you can see this actually has multiple eyes on it. You could bury this whole thing and it would grow just fine, but the way to get more potatoes is you actually want to cut this up so that the eyes are in separate pieces. So we had some seed potatoes that we already bought, and we did that a couple days ago because you want them to heal over or dry out after you cut them. Because if you just cut them and they're still wet, they're gonna rot in the ground basically. So these have been sitting for a couple days and they're really dry. So we're gonna plant these in a little bit. These are some red potatoes we got. But I was just gonna show you how we'd cut up some of these, which are just plain russets that you get from the store. So usually they say you want 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 eyes per piece. So I'm thinking we're probably going to cut this into maybe like 3 or 4. So just take a knife. Sorry, this knife is a little dull. That's a decent piece. Set that up. We'll cut this guy off. Some of now these two really only have probably like 1 eye on them, but they're green enough at the point where they're sprouting that I know they're probably going to do well enough with that. And we'll probably just cut this guy in half. So you cut them up so you got at least a couple eyes per piece, and then you set them in a box somewhere in the house to dry. Optimally, you know, if you got a south-facing window with some sun, put them in the sun and let them dry out. Basically, they only need to sit for a couple days, or at least till they get to this point where they feel dry. As long as they don't feel wet, then that's what you want. So now we got that done. These we'll plant in a couple more days, but these we're gonna plant today. So let's get to it. Here's our bed. We're gonna plant the potatoes. So this is a no-dig bed we made last year. A lot of people plant potatoes no-dig style now because it's really not necessary to turn the soil. So all we did last year to prep this was we put down cardboard on top of this grass. This was all grass, and we just raked fall leaves on top of it. And a couple days ago I raked it off to put new paper down and put the material back on. And we've also raked up some more leaves around the area, which will mulch on top of the potatoes as we plant them. But when I raked it off, there was no sign of cardboard or anything, and all the grass was dead, and it was perfect soil. We actually have another one that we're going to be planting some more potatoes in. And we haven't done anything with this one yet, but this is the same thing. So it was cardboard with leaves on top of the grass. And you can see if I dig down in here, there's no more cardboard in there. It's just good, nice black soil. So that's perfect. Perfect for potatoes. Ready to plant our potatoes in the bed. So first thing is we're not going to do this in a straight line because that's utter nonsense. You don't plant in straight lines. Nothing in nature is in a straight line planted that way. So we're going to use kind of a bio-intensive spacing. So we're going to go kind of 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do rows offset. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You'll see. It'll make sense. But so how we plant these, we're not going to take this off or anything. We're just going to dig a hole in here. Going to get through the paper. I'm going to take one of these, put them in, cover it. Get one on the far side, and these only need to be about 6 to 8 inches apart. And the important thing is as you grow in the season, so we're going to cover these with leaves, more leaves after we've planted them. But as you go through the season, you need to make sure you keep piling more material on top of them, because if the sunlight gets to your potatoes, they'll turn green and then they're toxic, because this is actually a toxic plant. But here, plant one. And the advantage to no-dig potatoes is you don't have to dig when you plant, and you're not going to have to dig, at least not very much, when you harvest. Basically, you'll just pull back all this mulch, and all your potatoes will be there, ready to pull up nice and easy. Just put that there. Leaves isn't the only mulch material you can use. You can use whatever you got, really. This could be wood chips or straw if you have it, but we have hardwoods all around us, so we have plenty of leaves to do this with. So just use what you have. So for the last step now, we got the potatoes all planted, and we're just going to put some extra material on top, which we'll keep doing throughout the season. But what I'm going to put on top right now is just something really light. This is shredded leaves. So we have an electric leaf mulcher. You just dump them in. It's basically an inverted weed whacker. It just has a string that spins around and grinds everything up. But this stuff is like some of the best compost mulch material you can put on the garden. So I'm just gonna take some and dump it on top until these things come through, and then when they come through is when we'll put a heavier layer of stuff on top. Notice it's kind of windy out today, and because of that I usually wet this stuff down a little bit before I put it on, just so it doesn't all fly away, and then we'll wet the bed. We're gonna wet the bed. Yeah, we're gonna wet the bed after we put this on, just so some of this material stays here. A little bit more. And there we go. Potatoes are planted, should come up in the next few weeks, and we'll post an update then. See you later.